The following is the next section in the issues and answers post Symbiotic Panentheism Revisited. And this is the science section. Continuing the reading, issues and answers, symbiotic panentheism, and science. And it reads as follows. Modern physics, entangled particles. Question. If not an estuary or link, bridge, gulf of the physical and the abstract, what then would account for the instantaneous impact upon one's self, particle, instantaneously impacting another, regardless of being separated by an infinite distance of the physical universe? Introduction. Quantum entanglement, QE, describes the situation when the fate of two or more particles become bound together. A change in one entangled particle results in an instant change in the other particle, no matter how far apart it is, even if it is at the opposite end of the universe. Of course, it is not quite as simple as that. The phenomenon is linked in a deep way to the fundamental properties of matter and the nature of observing and measuring reality. It really bothered Einstein, especially since the concept that a change in one particle was somehow communicated to the other faster than the speed of light, nature's ultimate speed limit. He called it spooky action at a distance. BBC News published 5/21/2003. Analysis. Spooky action might best be described as the estuary of the estuary, or link, or gulf, if you will, of the tangible and the intangible, that would be matter and spirit, as implied by the metaphysical system of SP, or symbiotic panentheism. This location, the estuary, is not found at the edge of the universe, at the end of the physical, but rather is a meeting of the laws of order governing the physical and the lack of laws governing the intangible, governing the abstract, what religions call God or spirit. Remarks. Perhaps even the tangible and the intangible have their location of fluidity, wherein the two overlap and mix. Modern physics, expanding universe. If there is no outside to the universe, then how do we explain into what or away from what is the universe moving? Introduction. The discovery that the universe is expanding was one of the great intellectual revolutions of the 20th century. With hindsight, it is easy to wonder why no one had thought of it before. Newton and others should have realized that a static universe would soon start to contradict under the influence of gravity. A Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawking. Analysis. The philosophical, religious, and scientific dilemma introduced by an expanding or contracting universe is into what is the universe expanding, or from what is the universe withdrawing. Science, religion, and philosophy have no answer to such a dilemma. Symbiotic panentheism, however, would offer a solution. The physical universe, within which matter, energy, space, and time are found, is expanding into or contracting from the fabric within which it is located. The fabric, which being the intangible, or what religions call God, the lack of matter, energy, space, and time. But why are space and time included as aspects of the physical when they are to be as intangible as the concepts of knowledge, knowing, love, curiosity, etc.? Space and time are included with the aspects of matter and energy because they have been demonstrated by Einstein to be aspects directly emanating from matter and energy, or from which matter and energy are emanating. This connection is demonstrated through Einstein's equation E equals mc squared. E represents energy, m represents matter, and c represents the velocity of light. Velocity, in turn, is the ratio of distance to time, or distance divided by time. Distance and time, in turn, are but examples of the many dimensions of space. Remarks. Symbiotic panentheism provides the rationality needed to solve the scientific dilemma regarding an expanding or contracting universe. The physical universe is expanding into or contracting from a region of the intangible, a region void, a universal fabric composed of space, time, matter, and energy. Matter, energy, space, and time are found within the intangible, but not as a universal fabric, but rather in isolated pockets, found within universes, plural, be they universes of physical existence, such as a complete physical tangible universe, or the universe of an individual's knowing, perhaps one of sheer information. The universes of an infinite number of unique entities of knowing. The universe purpose. Question: if symbiotic panentheism is not the model describing reality, then what is the model that can do so? Introduction. However, if we do discover a complete theory, it should in time be understandable in broad principle by everyone, not just a few scientists. Then we shall all, philosophers, scientists, and just ordinary people, be able to take part in the discussion of the question of why it is that the universe and we exist. Hawking, A Brief History of Time, page 175. Analysis. Symbiotic panentheism is composed of two parts. Panentheism, a description of the size of reality, and symbiosis, not to mention a concept of size and location being also applied to the intangible, or spirit, or what religions call God. SP, a description of the action taking place within the whole of reality, until the advent of SP or symbiotic panentheism, no rationale could be or complete theory regarding the structure of reality has been put forward, which provides the rationality necessary to satisfactorily resolve religious variants, philosophical paradoxes, and scientific dilemmas. From The War and Peace of a New Metaphysical Perception, Volume 2. Panentheism has been with us for a long time. Panentheism alone, however, describes what reality is, but lacks the description regarding the interactions occurring within reality. Science. Panentheism describes reality as being the whole of itself. Everything is within the whole. All the parts make up the whole. The one is the sum of its parts, or perhaps even greater. Therefore, there are two aspects of reality. One, the whole, singularity, oneness, monism. Two, the parts, multiplicity, individuality, dualism. Remarks. The symbiosis aspect of SP provides the understanding regarding the interactivity which exists within reality. The symbiosis, a scientific term, provides the rationality needed to understand the purpose of the parts found within the whole of reality to the whole itself, as well as the purpose for the whole of reality to the parts found within the itself, found within the whole. Post-scientific age, a radical break. Question. The understanding of symbiotic panentheism presents regarding the individual's significance is not the answer, then what is the answer to the question? Why is the individual needed? Why are individuals significant? Is it really possible God does make junk or unnecessary stuff after all? Are the nihilistic models presented by past metaphysicians really the best we can do in terms of human logic, human rationality, and human reasoning? Introduction. If we are entering a post-scientific age, and I for one am skeptical, then the new millennium will see as radical a break as any that has occurred since Darwin produced, quote unquote, the greatest idea ever. Watson, Peter, The Modern Mind, HarperCollins, Publishers, 2001, page 7. Analysis. What could be more radical a development than the emergence of a new metaphysical system of reality? Symbiotic panentheism is a new metaphysical system wherein an understanding regarding the whole of reality and the elements found within the whole of reality emerges as the physical becomes a real illusion to a real intangible. The abstract, while simultaneously the real illusion of the intangible, the abstract, becomes the real illusion of a real tangible, the physical. So here we have matter and spirit in terms of explanation of real tangible, real illusion, real intangible. The understanding regarding the interaction as well as the intra-action existing between the real and the real illusion emerges as the purest form of symbiosis to reveal itself to date. In short, the whole is recognized as just that, the whole. Panentheism, all within. And the whole exists for the parts, and the parts exist for the whole. Symbiosis. Without the whole, the parts could not exist. So do not deny the whole. Do not deny that spirit is real. Do not deny God. Without the whole, the parts could not exist. And without the parts, the whole would be forever faced with Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, metaphysical death, and the war and peace of a new metaphysical perception. A Perceptual Shift for Humankind, Volume 1. Remarks. What more radical a break could possibly emerge at the turn of the new millennium than a complete understanding regarding the dynamics of the whole of reality to its parts and the parts of reality to the whole of reality? What more radical a break could possibly emerge at the turn of the new millennium than a complete understanding regarding a real significance existing for each and every individual, be they of earthly origin or otherwise, be it within our universe or within potential infinite other universes. In short, what more radical a break could possibly emerge at the turn of the new millennium than the development of the symbiotic panentheistic model, wherein the rationality of nihilism or nihilistic existence is completely and irrevocably dismantled. The universe bounded. If the universe is shaped like a soccer ball, then what lies outside the soccer ball, outside the universe? Introduction. What is the shape of the universe? The question has tantalized humankind since civilization first gazed toward the heavens. Theories about whether space is infinite or finite, flat or curved, have blazed in the firmament of scientific discourse with varying intensity over time, burning brighter or fading in the face of new data and competing ideas. Now, a new study of astronomical data only recently available hints at a possible answer. The universe is finite and bears a rough resemblance to a soccer ball, or, more accurately, a dodecahedron. I think I pronounced that right. Maybe not. It is a 12-sided volume bounded by pentagons. If proved by further evidence and scrutiny, the model would represent a major discovery about the nature of the cosmos. What makes it exciting now is it's not a matter of idle speculation, said Jeffrey Weeks, a freelance mathematician in Canton, New York, and study co-author. There's a real data to look at and the possibility of getting a definite answer, quote unquote. Weeks, a recipient of a MacArthur Fellowship or so-called Genius Award, arrived at the model with a team of French cosmologists while studying cosmic background radiation observed by NASA's Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, or WMAP. From a National Geographic News, October 2003 edition. Analysis. What is most significant regarding the latest cosmological theory is not that the universe is soccer-shaped, but rather the universe is finite, and therefore the shape of the universe lends itself to scientific and mathematical study. Cosmological studies regarding the shape of the universe suggest a limit to the universe, which in turn suggests that there is an existence outside the universe. The concept that there is an outside to the universe adds scientific credence to the concept of panentheism as opposed to pantheism, existentialism, or nihilism, or atheism for that matter, or maybe even classical theism. Continuing. Pantheism, as opposed to panentheism, purports the universe to be infinite and thus nothing exists beyond, outside the universe. Pantheism purports the physical universe exists, as such the physical is the first truth. Existentialism, on the other hand, initiates its discussion regarding the first truth with self, or from the spiritual perspective would be the lower self, individual, or ego. The individual exists. Existentialism purports the individual exists, and as such, self is the first truth. Nihilism arises from both pantheism, existentialism, and atheism, since pantheism begins with the physical universe, and since science suggests the universe is finite, both in terms of size and time. Pantheism leads eventually to the nihilistic concept that since the universe eventually dies, then the universe is mortal. Since existentialism begins with self, or ego, and since science suggests self is finite, both in terms of size and time, existentialism leads to the nihilistic concept that since self eventually dies, then self is mortal, perishable. Panentheism, a term meaning all in theos, or God, like science, purports the universe is finite, but mortality, like matter and energy, is found within the universe. And as such, what lies outside the universe is not mortal. That would be immortal, forever, eternal, everlasting, etc. Panentheism also purports that although the physical shell of a human is composed of matter and energy, and as such the physical shell of a human is also mortal. Panentheism, however, goes on to provide the rationality regarding the non-physical, soul/spirit, aspect of a human. It is this non-physical aspect of an individual which is composed of the same acosmic substance found outside the universe, and as such, it is this acosmic substance, a description giving spirit substance, which takes on the characteristic of immortality. Religions refer to such an existence as the soul, or spirit. Sciences refer to such an existence as ego, which in many ways is the opposite, but not in the sense that it should oppose, but rather be within a symbiotic relationship with. One needs the other, in other words. And philosophies refer to such an existence as being. Panentheism offers, then, to the non-physical essence of the individual this acosmic essence or the incorporeal essence of the individual. Remarks. The acosmic substance, being non-physical, spirit, must be composed of abstractions, intangibles, because it is not matter, and in many ways invisible to the five sense perception. Is there perception beyond the five senses? Indeed. This, in parapsychology, is called ESP, or extrasensory perception, or intuition, perhaps. In fact, the acosmic substance would be existence in the form of two verbs and two nouns. Being, non-italicized, the passive state of existing, being italicized, action encompassed by free will, being within quotes, lowercase b, individuality, multiplicity, the parts of the whole. Religiously, the soul/spirit, philosophically, being, scientifically, the elements of the set. And finally, being with a capital B, noun, within quotes, uppercase B, singularity, the whole. Religiously, God, philosophically, being, or perhaps even psychologically, pure consciousness. Mind, scientifically, reality. And to finalize and conclude this reading on issues and answers of symbiotic panentheism, found in the War and Peace of a New Metaphysical Perception, the science section of this work. The universe, oscillation, question. But if the universe is locked in a perpetual cycle of formation and dissipation or dissolution, or creation/destruction, then the question becomes, within what does the universe form, and from what does the universe dissipate? Introduction. It could be a time-honored philosophy of Eastern gurus, the view that time has neither a beginning nor an end, or an alpha and omega, if you will, and that the universe is locked in a perpetual cycle of formation and dissipation, but it's the largest scientific model of the cosmos, or the latest, rather, and it comes from top theorists in Princeton, New Jersey, and Cambridge, England. The new cyclic model of the universe offers an appealing alternative to the prevailing theory. That would be linear theories of time. According to Paul J. Steinhardt, a theoretical physicist at Princeton University, it predicts all the features of the standard model using fewer ingredients, he said. Steinhardt and his colleague Neil Turek of Cambridge University proposed the new model in a report posted April 25th on the Science Express website of the Journal of Science. Universe Reborn Endlessly in the New Model of the Cosmos, Ben Harbour, for National Geographic News, April 25, 2002. Analysis. One may suggest that the universe forms within nothingness, which is what the model of creation ex nihilo, which many classical theists and scientists alike have adopted. Ironically, being that most scientists reject classical theism, and rightly so. It has many contradictions. Continuing. The universe forms within nothingness, and when the universe dissipates, it leaves behind nothingness. But such an argument suggests that nothingness is the essence from which the universe originates. Such an argument is both rational and objective if one places nothingness within an existence of an acosmic substance such as knowing, consciousness, the intangible, and abstraction, or spirit, or God, to suggest that nothingness is the ultimate form of existence, however, is both irrational and self-defeating for our species and for ourselves as unique individuals. Comparatively, it's like saying the universe is static when we know otherwise. And perhaps in classical theism that a static universe requires a static, immovable God. Food for thought. Continuing, the total argument regarding the functionality of nothingness, creation of something from nothing, symmetry, leading to nothingness, nothingness through symmetry leading to something, ultimate reductionism of physical symmetry, and more can be found in detail within The War and Peace of a New Metaphysical Perception, Volume 2, The Error of Heidegger. Basically, it outlines how it is that the universe may evolve from nothingness, and as such, nothingness lies at the heart of physicality, or I suppose one may logically suggest that nothingness lies outside the physical while being the medium within which the physical forms and dissipates. While it may be rational to suggest nothingness may lie outside the physical, it is not logical to argue that nothingness does not have a location of its own. In fact, when one reads Tractate 10 of this The War and Peace of a New Metaphysical Reality, Volume 2, one gains a clear understanding that the location of nothingness has its own universal fabric within which it forms. The universal fabric can be rationally agreed to be the intangible, abstraction, timeless void, space. But why do time and space become elements of the universal fabric found outside the physical rather than being infinites? Finite infinites, see The World and Peace of a New Metaphysical Perception, Volume 1, Tractate 2. Of the acosmic, why do time and space become innate characteristics of a physical universe rather than the acosmic, or the intangible? The answer to this question can be found in Tractate 8, The Error of Einstein, found within The War and Peace of a New Metaphysical Perception. It is Einstein who formulated the famous equation, energy equals the product of mass times the speed of light squared, and speed in turn is the quotient of distance squared divided by time squared. In short, E over m equals t squared over d squared. Time and distance are innate characteristics of a physical universe and thus comprise the universal fabric of the physical rather than comprising the universal fabric of the abstract within which the physical is found to oscillate to and fro. Oscillate from expansion into contraction, into expansion, into contraction, endlessly, or perhaps only for a specified number of oscillations nevertheless. Remarks. Science is the rationalizing of the observed. Philosophy is the observing of the rationalized. Science observes, then explains what it is one has observed using logic. rational analysis, reason. Philosophy rationalizes first, then tries to support what it has rationalized through the process of observations. When philosophy is unable to reinforce its rationality through direct or indirect observations, then we find philosophy begins a journey of self-doubt and second-guessing itself. Why does philosophy finds it reasonable to grant science the fundamental principle wherein science is allowed to license or the license to define scientific principles at best, then can, and then move on from there while not allowing itself such a license I cannot understand. If philosophy would allow itself the license to state a truth and then move on from that point, philosophy would quickly establish three first truths and then move on from there. The three first truths would be 1. You exist. 2. The universe exists. 3. An outside to the universe exists. And I could add 4. Religion. Conclusion. God exists. Such a perception defines panentheism. Once having established the three first truths, philosophy would then have no choice but to acknowledge that not only do the parts comprise the whole, but philosophy would have little choice but to acknowledge that not only do all parts of the whole exist, but that all parts of the whole have a function, form of interaction with the whole, symbiosis. So whether the ego is aware of it or not, there is an interaction with God. And whether the atheist believes in God or not, it does not make it not so. Continuing, the net result is a metaphysical model best labeled symbiotic panentheism. Of course, panentheism has variations and methods of approach by various theologians and philosophers. So it would be a good idea to perhaps compare the variations as well, such as eschatological panentheism, or for example, conjoined panentheism, which has many similarities to symbiotic panentheism. And the panentheistic models by no means contradict one another, by no means. So we have symbiotic panentheism, the being, lowercase b, of being, in quotes, lowercase b, being, and then being, capital B, the existence of the individual acting within and having significance to God. And I would add, whether you believe it or not, it would still stand. Thank you for listening. And this is the end of the issues and answers sections, science, and symbiotic panentheism.